We spoke with Keith Glasgow, who is the coordinator of the Junior Kaiso Contest. Today we will be discussing with the Executive Director of Culturama, Antonio Abonaty, who will tell us about the opening of Culturama this evening, to be followed by the Junior Kaiso Contest. Good morning, Mr. Liebert, and welcome back to Good Morning, SKN.
Good morning. Good morning, SKN. It's good to be back on your program. We were here a few weeks ago, and today is actually the big day, the start of Culturama 48, and so it's indeed a good thing that we are linking once again this morning.
Yes. So, Mr. Liebert, why this time of year, and what was the objective of Culturama?
Well, Culturama was started in 1974 to preserve and promote and to, well, the cultural art forms of Nevis. It was discovered that the cultural traditions of Nevis were only practiced during the Christmas celebrations. And the Nevis Dramatic and Cultural Society decided that they needed a festival at a different time of the year that would promote the cultural art forms, the cultural heritage of the island. And so they came up with the idea of Culturama. Why this time of the year, July, August? They chose it to coincide with the emancipation of our forefathers from slavery. And how appropriate this period is, because on Juve morning, on Emancipation Day, the revelers of St. Kitts and Nevis take to the streets of Charlestown and really have a true emancipation ball in the streets. And so it's quite appropriate that we celebrate Culturama around this time of the year.
All right, well, popular opinion, sir, suggests that Nevis actually has a better display, or rather a more distinctive display of cultural troops and cultural music than even St. Kitts does. Why do you think that's the case? Why do you think the public believes that?
I actually don't think so, because there are some cultural traditions on Nevis, on St. Kitts, that is, that are not practiced on Nevis. And I'm sure that all of the, or most of the cultural traditions on Nevis are practiced on St. Kitts. But I think that Nevisians are true to their cultural heritage. They have this thing that they want to see the cultural traditions, the cultural heritage, the foods, the dances, the sayings. They want to see those things preserved, so that generations to come will have a sense of how, you know, their forefathers lived, how their parents lived, their grandparents lived, and so they always place great emphasis on showcasing and preserving the cultural traditions that they were brought up under.
Let's speak a bit about the masquerade, Mr. Liebert. How has the masquerade managed to maintain their dance move and their chants over the years without losing any of its originality?
Well, over here on Nevis, we have had a tradition of going into the schools to teach masquerade dancing. And so the moves have remained the same basically over the years. The Department of Culture, when it existed, they used to teach the art of masquerade dancing. We now have the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation, and they too are doing a tremendous job at preserving the art form in terms of teaching the dance moves to the younger generation. And what we find here in Nevis also is that the young children, the young boys, the young girls, and incidentally, there are a number of young girls on Nevis who are into dancing masquerade. And so they want to learn this art. They want to learn this art form. And so it's never really difficult for us to get young persons interested in learning the art of masquerade dancing. And so because of this, I think that this has led to the perpetuation of the folk dance and the preservation of the dance moves, even the music. There are a number of young persons who are learning to play the fife, learning the different melodies for the different dances. Number of young persons are also learning to play the kettle drum, which is the main drum used as part of the music. And so we have had that tradition being maintained and being handed down over the years.
All right, in terms of maintaining tradition as well, it goes even as far as the foods, we understand. When we spoke to John Hanley, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, he mentioned a dish that he explained was made from cassava, but prepared similarly to cornmeal. For those viewers who didn't see that show, sir, can you tell us the name of that dish, if you're aware? And also, is there another dish called black hat?
Black what?
Black hat.
Black hat?
Yes.
I actually do not know of a dish that is called black hat. I know of a cook, a local cook that is called black hat. So probably you misinterpreted what he said. But cassava musa, that is something that is prepared similar to cornmeal, and it is a delicacy here on Nevis. It is made from cassava meal. The raw cassava, it would be grated, and something similar to cornmeal is the finished product, which you can then prepare and you would use that as a breakfast at breakfast in place of your cereal, maybe in place of your oatmeal or your cornflakes, or even your cornmeal porridge. You can have cassava musa replacing that. There's also another dish that is prepared, or another delicacy, Nevisian delicacy, that is prepared from the cassava. We have the cassava bread, and my mother would tell me, or used to tell me, that when they were growing up, they were very poor, and when there was no money to buy bread at mornings, their parents would go out into the land, harvest a bit of cassava root, come back, grate it, squeeze it, and prepare cassava bread, and that is what they would use in place of bread, and send them off to school. And so there are a number of delicacies that we have maintained here on Nevis over the years. The Conky Antigua people call it dukuna. That is also a delicacy here on Nevis. And there are several other foods that we have tried to maintain over the years here on Nevis. And that is why we have the cultural food fair. And that cultural food fair will be happening next week, Saturday, July the 30th at the ETW Park. And all of the local foods, all of the local drinks here on Nevis would be on sale during that event. So I want to use this opportunity to invite you over to experience some local foods at the food fair next week, Saturday.
Sir, we recently had the announcement of the finalists for the Senior Calypso Show. And what are some of the direct Culturama activities, as well as the fringe activities that have already taken place?
Well, we have had the TDC Senior Kaiso Fiesta, or the TDC Senior Kaiso semifinals. And from that event, we have selected 7 finalists to go up against the reigning King Hollywood. Most persons may have heard Hollywood announcing last year when he created history by being the first Calypsonian in 47 years of Culturama to be crowned back-to-back, that he would be bowing out of the Calypso competition, that he would no longer be competing. But he has since changed his mind, and so he will be defending his crown this year. And so we have 7 finalists that were selected from last week's show, and they would go up against the king. We also had last week, Saturday evening, the semifinals of the Groovy and the Power Soca Monarch competition. And so we have 7 finalists that were selected to go up against the reigning Groovy King. And we had 8 finalists that were competing, that were selected to go up against, well, not to go up against, because the reigning Power Soca King will not be defending this year because he has an overseas engagement. And so from that competition, we selected, incidentally, selected 9 persons because there was a tie for 8th position. And so there were 9 persons competing in the power category, as well as 7 persons competing in the groovy category. So those were the 2 major activities. You know, every Friday afternoon we have had an activity dubbed Action Corner. It's a promotional activity where we try to sensitize persons about the activities for Culturama 48. And yeah, we have had a very successful night market. We have twinned that. We collaborated rather with the Ministry of Tourism for that event. A lot of local craft and food vendors were on display. We had a soca teaser, we had a calypso tent. And so all in all of the activities for Culturama, all the pre-activities that is for Culturama 48 have gone very well thus far. And so as of this afternoon, we now move into the core events where we have the opening ceremony this afternoon, followed closely by the junior Calypso competition. And let me rephrase that, or let me say that again, the Greenhouse Band Junior Calypso competition, because the competition over the years has been sponsored by Jazzy Civiton of the Greenhouse Band. He plays free for the youngsters in that Calypso competition. He arranges their music. He sometimes pens their songs, and that is his contribution towards the development of our young Calypsonians and the continuation of the Calypso art form here on Nevis.
So other than the Kaiso competition that you mentioned earlier, what else can spectators expect tonight at Culturama's opening? Well,
we will be honoring the patron of the festival, Mr. William Zumbai the Gaido. We'll be presenting him with a plaque. We'll be presenting him with a monetary donation. We will also be presenting him with some complimentary passes for the festival. We will also be giving our slogan winner, Miss Verna Tibu, who came up with the slogan, Fet and Celebrate, Nevis Culturama 48. We'll be giving her a plaque. We will also be awarding her with some tickets for the festival this year. We will have presentations from some of our major sponsors, our premium platinum sponsor Flow. They would be handing over their premium platinum check to the Minister of Culture. We will have some cultural performances. We cannot start Culturama without cultural performances. We'll be having the steel band, we'll be having the masquerades. They will be on display this evening. We'll be having some Calypsonians singing appropriate songs, songs that speak to Culturama. They will be performing this evening. And we want to make the opening ceremony short and somewhat compact, because this year we have 12 junior Calypsonians, and so we do not want to prolong the opening ceremony. Of course, the Minister of Culture, the Honorable Eric Evelyn, would declare the festival open, and then we'll go right into the junior Calypso competition, which I said we have some 12 Calypsonians. Unfortunately, the reigning junior Calypso monarch, Invincible, will not be defending because he too is off island on family matters, and so he will not be defended this evening. So we are actually going to be looking to crown a brand new junior Calypso monarch this year. Invincible reigned undefeated for the last 4 years. And so I think that, you know, the competition this evening is going to be keen, because the other competitors now see an opportunity for them to be crowned the monarch the junior monarch for Culturama 48 this evening.
All right, very quickly, sir. Will there be any COVID-19 protocols in place for Culturama 48?
Yes, yes. Although we would not be enforcing the wearing of masks and we will not be enforcing social distancing, we will be doing hand sanitizing upon entry, and we are asking persons, patrons, to be responsible and to take their own personal health in their hands and wear their masks. We will not be enforcing it, but we will be encouraging persons to wear their mask and to try as much as possible to not be in close contact with persons. I know that for some of the feds that will be impossible, but we will be also displaying the COVID-19 protocols on our monitor screens, so that it would be constantly in the minds of persons. Hey, COVID is real. We are not yet out of the woods. COVID is still somewhere lurking around out there, and we ourselves should take our personal safety into our own hands.
So with that said, Mr. Abbott, before we go, can you just remind us of the time and the venue of the Culturama opening this evening?
The Culturama opening this evening takes place at 7 o'clock at the Cultural Village. There's going to be a musical prelude, a steel pan music prelude from 6:30 that will sort of, provide some entertainment as persons get to the venue. And as I said, it's going to be the official ceremony begins at 7 o'clock, and it will be at the Cultural Village.